For 7,000 years, one civilization built an empire that covered half the known world. They weren't just masters of conquest. They were masters of health. They left behind more than ruins. They left a blueprint for human vitality. A diet so powerful that modern science is only now beginning to understand its secrets. This is the story of the food that fueled the world's first superpower, a story of pomegranates, saffron, and a forgotten philosophy of balance. And what happened when this ancient wisdom collided with the modern world will change how you think about the food on your plate forever. Stay with us, because the secrets we're about to uncover have been buried for centuries, and they hold a key to our future health. Around 550 BCE, Cyrus the Great didn't just build an empire, he built a system designed for the well-being of its people. While his famous Cyrus Cylinder is hailed as the first charter of human rights, the empire's unwritten charter was one of nourishment. To manage a population of 50 million people, the Persians couldn't rely on empty calories. They needed nutrient-dense, life-sustaining foods. The foundation of this diet wasn't a fad. It was a reflection of the fertile lands they governed. At the heart of it were powerhouse ingredients. First, the pomegranate, revered not just as a fruit, but as a symbol of life and fertility. Modern science now tells us why. Its seeds are packed with punocollagens, incredibly potent antioxidants that protect our cells from damage. Then, there are walnuts. Shaped like a brain, Persian physicians intuitively understood their cognitive benefits. Today, we know they are one of the richest plant-based sources of omega-3 fatty acids, crucial for brain health and fighting inflammation. And of course, saffron. More valuable than gold, this delicate spice was their secret weapon. It wasn't just for color or flavor. It was used as an antidepressant, an anti-inflammatory, and a potent antioxidant. These weren't just meals. They were prescriptions. Food was medicine, and the dinner table was the pharmacy. This philosophy of nourishment allowed the Achaemenid Empire to not only expand but to thrive, creating a population that was resilient, strong, and capable of incredible feats. The genius of the Persian Empire under Darius the Great wasn't just its size, but its connectivity. The famous Royal Road was more than a military highway. It was a metabolic pathway for the empire, transporting not just goods and messages, but knowledge. Herbs from India, medicinal plants from Egypt, and healing techniques from Greece all flowed into the heart of Persia, where they were studied and refined. This exchange was underpinned by a core philosophy, deeply rooted in the state religion of Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism taught a profound respect for the natural elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Purity was paramount. This translated directly into their health practices. Clean water systems, sanitation, and a diet free from impurities were not just civic projects. They were spiritual duties. The central concept was balance. Just as there was a cosmic struggle between good and evil, the body was seen as a battlefield of opposing forces. This idea would evolve into the cornerstone of traditional Persian medicine, the concept of hot and cold foods. This wasn't about temperature. It was about the intrinsic energetic properties of food and how they affected the body's metabolism and overall humor. A hot constitution, prone to inflammation or anger, would be balanced with cold foods like cucumber, yogurt, and fresh herbs. A cold constitution, feeling lethargic or sluggish, would be revived with hot foods like walnuts, dates, and spices like cinnamon. Every meal was a conscious act of rebalancing the body. It was a dynamic, personalized approach to nutrition that is worlds away from our one-size-fits-all dietary guidelines. This sophisticated system created a preventative approach to health. The goal wasn't to cure sickness, but to maintain a state of balance where sickness couldn't take root. For centuries, this empire of wellness seemed invincible. But in 330 BCE, a fire would consume its capital, and with it, a library of priceless knowledge. When Alexander the Great burned Persepolis, he didn't just destroy a city, he torched generations of accumulated wisdom on medicine, agriculture, and nutrition. But an idea, once planted, is harder to kill than an empire. The flame of Persian wisdom wasn't extinguished, it was scattered. For nearly 1,000 years through the Parthian and Sassanid dynasties, this knowledge was kept alive, practiced in households and taught by physicians who resisted Roman and Byzantine influence. Then came a new force from the desert. The Islamic conquest in the 7th century could have been another ending. Instead, it became a new beginning. While Persia was conquered, its culture, particularly its scientific and medical knowledge, conquered its conquerors. The new Islamic caliphate, centered in Baghdad, became hungry for knowledge, and Persian scholars were their most brilliant teachers. They began a massive translation movement, preserving ancient Greek texts from Plato and Aristotle, but crucially also documenting and expanding upon their own Persian traditions. This fusion created the Islamic Golden Age, and at its heart was a Persian physician who would change medicine forever. Ibn Sina, known to the West as Avicenna, his masterwork, The Canon of Medicine, became the single most important medical textbook in the world for over 600 years. It systematically catalogued the properties of foods, herbs, and minerals, formalizing the Persian concepts of balance, hot and cold natures, and preventative health. The knowledge that was almost lost in the fire of Persepolis was now codified, celebrated, and spread from Spain to India. The empire was gone, but its medical soul was more influential than ever. As centuries passed, this sophisticated medical theory didn't just stay in textbooks, it infused itself into the very fabric of daily life. The Persian kitchen. By the time of the Safavid dynasty in the 16th century, Persian cuisine had become one of the most refined and health-conscious in the world. Dishes that are still national treasures today are in fact brilliant medical formulations disguised as delicious food. Take gourmet sabzi, the national dish of Iran. On the surface, it's a simple herb stew, but medically it's a powerhouse of detoxification. It contains parsley, a diuretic that flushes toxins, cilantro, which helps remove heavy metals, and fenugreek, which balances blood sugar. The cold nature of the herbs is perfectly balanced by the hot nature of the lamb and kidney beans, creating a meal that is both nourishing and harmonizing. Or consider fesanjan, a rich stew of walnuts and pomegranate molasses. It sounds decadent, but it's a prescription for brain and heart health. The omega-3 says from the massive quantity of walnuts reduce inflammation, while the potent antioxidants from the pomegranate molasses protect the cardiovascular system. Even the national drink, duga, a savory yogurt beverage, is a medical marvel. It's a probiotic powerhouse that replenishes the gut microbiome, garnished with mint to aid digestion. This is the ultimate expression of let food be thy medicine. It's not about restriction or denial. It's about creating complex, delicious meals where every ingredient has a therapeutic purpose. The Persian kitchen is a living pharmacy, and every recipe is a time-tested prescription for a long and healthy life. For millennia, this intricate system of dietary wisdom was passed down, evolving slowly, but always retaining its core principles of balance and whole foods. But in the 20th century, this ancient tradition collided with a new and powerful global force, the Western industrialized diet. The discovery of oil in Iran brought unprecedented wealth and foreign influence, and with it came foreign foods. Supermarkets began to appear, their aisles filled with brightly packaged processed goods, refined sugars, and vegetable oils, concepts entirely alien to the traditional Persian pantry. White bread replaced whole-grain flatbreads. Sugary drinks replaced water and dew. Processed snacks replaced nuts and dried fruits. This wasn't just a dietary shift, it was a cultural earthquake. The hot and cold balancing act, perfected over 3,000 years, was thrown into chaos. The health consequences were predictable and devastating. For the first time in its long history, Iran began to see widespread rates of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. These weren't diseases of the ancient world. They were diseases of modernity, a direct result of abandoning a diet that was perfectly adapted to their genetics and environment. The kitchen pharmacy, once the heart of the home, now found itself in competition with the convenience of a pill bottle and the allure of fast food. The wisdom of Avicenna was being replaced by the marketing of global food corporations, and a civilization that had outlasted countless empires was now at risk of losing its most vital inheritance, its health. But the story doesn't end there. Just as Persian culture has proven resilient for millennia, so has its nutritional wisdom. A quiet revolution is underway. All over the world, scientists are now studying the very ingredients that formed the bedrock of the ancient Persian diet, and their findings are stunning. Studies have confirmed saffron's powerful antidepressant effects, finding it as effective as some pharmaceutical drugs, but with far fewer side effects. The polyphenols in pomegranates and walnuts are now proven to improve memory, reduce blood pressure, and support a healthy gut microbiome. The very concept of hot and cold foods is being re-examined through the lens of its effect on inflammation and metabolism. What the ancients knew through observation, we are now proving with data. At the same time, a new generation of Iranians and food lovers worldwide are rediscovering the power and flavor of their ancestral cuisine. They are choosing the local bazaar over the global supermarket, fresh herbs over processed powders, and slow-cooked stews over fast food. The secret of the Persian Empire wasn't just in its armies or its roads. It was in its deep understanding that the health of a nation begins on the individual's plate. It's a lesson that was almost forgotten, but is now more relevant than ever. In a world searching for the next superfood or diet hack, perhaps the greatest secret has been hiding in the heart of the world's oldest living civilization. If this journey through ancient wisdom has inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Next week, we're diving deep into the top 5 Persian herbs that science says can add years to your life. You won't want to miss it.